What's up, everybody? I am back with Sisters, Season 9, Episode 20, Bond Voyage. Before I start, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell button so you can be updated on every video. Make sure y'all like the videos so I can stay in the algorithm. All right? So next week is the season finale. It's the season finale. So, you know what? I'm going to give y'all my overall opinion next week about the whole season. So, or I might just put it in a short. If the video is a little bit lengthy, I'll just probably put it in a short. All right. Anyway, Pam, we start the episode off with Pam in a salon talking to Danny. She kind of spruced up Danny's hair. They was talking about plans for talking to Karen about, taking over her salon, turning it into a spa, yada, yada, yada. Danny decides that she doesn't want to go to the party. And I think with everything she have going on, she just didn't want to be at the party. I figured she probably thought she'll have more time with Karen, which she said that later on. But, until she found out Karen was leaving the next day. Anyway, Karen looked good. I'm gonna say that. Her hair, her outfit, she just looked good. Erin is packing. She's definitely, in the mom role versus what we seen early on in the seasons. So she's just like, oh, fake like this, do this, don't do that, just running everything down to Erin. So yeah, she's now in full on mom mode. Okay. So in the next scene, we see Andy's mom, just basically questioning her about her love life, kind of policing her womb a little bit, asking her about kids and whatnot. Andy lets her know that, she tells Andy that time waits on no one. And Andy said that, I don't think maybe marriage or kids or any of that is going to happen for me. Or, she feels like it may happen or it may not. Anyway, Andy's mom kind of gets dizzy, but it appears as if she was having some type of light stroke. I don't know. I'm not a medical professional, but it seemed like, she was having a light stroke. She said she got up too quickly, and she said she forgot to take her meds. So Andy was like, well, what meds are you taking? And she's vague with Andy about the medicine that she's taking. And so she lets her know, well, your auntie is going to take me to church. And Andy was like, well, no, you don't need to go to church. And so she kind of piped up and was like, no, she tells Andy, she tells Andy to leave, because she just wanted Andy to get out. Oh, I hope they talk about what's going on with the mother next week. Anyway, Pam calls Maurice because she's still at the shop with Danny to try and convince Danny to come to the party. And so she says no again. So Sabrina shows up at Maurice's house. We see Dylan over there. I was wondering why we didn't get Paige in this scene, but it would have been nice to have Paige. Anyway, Maurice tells Sabrina that Danny isn't coming. And then we get a scene with Sabrina grilling Dylan about his intentions with Maurice. So Aaron sits Karen down and let her know that he'll be headed to Seattle the next day. And he wants to go there, set up for them. And Karen was like, listen, you can't make that type of decision without talking to me. Like, it would have been nice to have that conversation. She said, well, if you're leaving tomorrow, we are leaving with you tomorrow. And so he was like, are you really, and she was like, yeah. She said, my mom's going to be here to take care, to help, to take care of the movers and whatnot. And that's that on that. So she was like, I just got to go break it down to everybody else. Anyway, Zach and Fatima, they're getting dressed because Zach is going out with Keys and Rich. Fatima's hanging out with the girls. And he tells Fatima he's going to help Rich get Sabrina back. It seems like we'll see Rich the next season. So Yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Anyway, Fatima tells Zach, she wants them to have a cookout. She said, she also asked him about what happened when he went to go visit, meet up with Keys. He said that he tells her Keys asked him to be on the board of directors. Basically, she was excited for him, and that was that. They don't get too many parts anymore, and it is what it is. So Maurice and Sabrina have a chit chat about Fatima. They both express their likeness that they have for Fatima, and I guess she's gonna be now the newer sister, okay, since Karen's gonna be gone. So it's gonna be these four ladies. I don't know, we'll see. It is just an observation. This is nothing set in stone. This is just what I'm seeing. Anyway, everybody arrives except for Danny. Karen is looking for Danny. They tell her that Danny's not coming. She calls Danny, was like, hey, I want you to come because I have news. And so while Danny is on the phone, she shares with everybody that she's going to leave the next day. Everybody's like shocked, but they're okay with it. Nobody's giving anybody a hard time. And so Karen was like, well, since I'm leaving, please come. Karen still wants Danny to be there. So anyway, Rich is complaining about Sabrina not wanting him. And I'm just like, Rich just always has to be the victim in all of this stuff that he caused. That's why he's not with Sabrina. This is all on you. Okay? And Mr. Jailbird will be back next week. So we need to see, baby, what's going to happen with all of this. Okay? Anyway, Danny decided to come over to the party, and Maurice was like, I really don't like that ensemble you got on, so I got something in there for you. And he beautified her up, and all is well. Anyway, so I just wanted to point this one part out. The one thing I've always wanted to see, all of the women getting along. They're laughing and taking pictures, and Karen was like, Fatima, you come get in a picture, and they all taking pictures, and it's just a beautiful moment, because when we first seen it, we had to work to where we at today. Okay, I think I heard Maurice said, they were a work in progress or something to that effect. But I'm saying all of that to say, I love to see the this dynamic shift with this lady, with their friend group. I just want whatever this is, this thing is between Danny and Andy, I need them to fix it. And I think we're going to fix that next week. At least I'm hoping. Especially when we find out what's going to happen next week. Okay? So, and yeah, that part, it made me a little emotional. But I didn't cry. It just kind of touched on my emotions. Anyway, Maurice tell Pam, that Karen is leaving tomorrow. And that they need to convince Danny. And to convince her that those three can come together to kind of get their venture up and going. So they need to talk to Danny to convince her. Let's talk to Karen so we can get our business up and running. Danny gets in the club. Immediately she starts to knock down 2 drinks. I don't know if the ladies knew what happened, but she just started to knock down the drinks. I guess she's just trying to, fill the voids with alcohol. I don't know. So we see Mr. Salt and Pepper. He comes over to the ladies and Maurice, and he wants to buy everybody drinks. So Danny said her debit card has declined and her bank account is empty. And I was like, wait, huh? But she thinks Tony stole her money. And my question is, how would Tony have your banking information? Like, have you ever given him your banking information? Like, that is so odd to me. And Sabrina just reminded her that, you remember we moved your money from the checking to the savings. And so she was like, bet. Anyway, Dr. Vaughn keeps texting and calling Andy. She's ignoring him, sending him the voicemail. And I just kind of figure, if you're being ignored, if somebody doesn't want to talk to you, let it go. Okay? Karen tells Andy that she's proud of her, and she gives Andy her flowers. Andy is kind of taken aback because it's been a minute since Karen said those things to her. Okay? And Karen just really wants Andy and Danny to fix their relationship. She wants Andy to give Danny grace, and that's fine. I'm cool with that. So, Dr. Vaughn texts Andy again, I think he texts Andy again to have her to come outside. And then both Karen and Fatima both think that Andy, they have separate conversations with both of the ladies, and both of them just want Andy and Danny to fix their relationship and have a chit chat. So back at the bar, Rich tells Keys the short version of what happened between him and Sabrina. Okay, basically it was all his fault. Okay, so Keys tell him that he needs to start showing action. If you want to be with Sabrina, she's not gonna guess that you want to be with her, but you need to put some action to it. You need to do better. Okay, because he is terrible. Okay, he is trash. But whatever. That is always my opinion of Rich. Anyway, Keys tell Rich that it's not that hard to be a good man, and it's not. A lot of times it's about choices that a lot of men seem to not want to make. But that's okay, because it is what it is. Anyway, Dr. Vaughn is asking Andy, why is she ignoring him? Because she went outside to go talk to Dr. Vaughn. And she tells him, about the whole Dr. Cruz situation and how she found out he helped Dr. Cruz, with the patients and all of that. And instead of Dr. Vaughn saying, listen, Andy, I did this because, he was threatening my job, my license, and I didn't have a choice. I didn't have a choice, and I apologize. He grabs her like she, is getting ready to walk off. He grabs her and tells her, he gives no explanation. He just seems like the way they're portraying him now as if he's a terrible person. But again, I guess we'll see Dr. Vaughn next season. I don't know. But he basically kind of throws in Karen's face how Karen wouldn't be alive if it wasn't for him. And that is true. Karen or the fate would not be here if it was not for Dr. Vaughn. However, the explanation that you gave in this, you throwing in your face what you did for Karen, that is your job. This is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to take care of patients. You're supposed to give quality patient care. Okay? You are a doctor. Anyway, she goes back into the club and she's furious at this point. So we don't know if Dr. Cruz is not to be trusted, but we're going to say Dr. Cruz at this moment is not to be trusted. Anyway, Karen talks with Danny and she lets her know, hey, I'm proud of you. And she wants her to make it right with Andy. Then she hugged and we see Danny is musty. So she had got all pretty and beautiful, but she didn't put on no deodorant. Well, why? Because she was at Maurice's house and, she didn't bring her deodorant with her. Hey, it is what it is. So Mrs. Salt and Pepper is trying to put down the moves and, I'm that guy, yada, yada, yada. Baby, and them dentures fell right out of his mouth into that glass. I'm sorry. Sabrina just has a terrible luck with these men. And it was Pam and Maurice for me. Pam was like, I'm dead, Maurice. I'm sorry, y'all. It was the way they piggyback off each other. And so Mr. Salt and Pepper ran up out of that club like faster than Mexican music, y'all. I was like, my God, today. I mean, his teeth just bloop, bloop. I'm sorry, that was so funny to me. That was funny. Anyway, Danny, Pam, Maurice, they sit with Karen and they have a conversation about, her turning her salon over to them, turning it into a spa, hookah lounge, and something else. I forget what the other thing was, but she lets them know. She gives them her blessing, and she said, "Okay, I'll give y'all my salon. I'm gonna be gone." And I just thought that was a good moment. I'm hoping that there is such a boom in the salon next season. I just want to see good things. Anyway, Sabrina's drunk AF, and she goes into the bathroom. Andy is in that bathroom looking in the mirror. She pissed, right? All right. And so Sabrina notices her. She was like, what's going on? And she lets her know how Dr. Vaughn pissed her off and how he grabs her arm, and Andy was like, how these men ain't no good. And Sabrina was letting her know, like, hey, listen, Jordan was a good guy. And she just blurted out, she crashed out, F Jordan. Okay? And guess who decided they wanted to come out of the bathroom stall? Pernell. Girl, out of all the people, all the places, you decide you wanted to be here. Okay? I feel like they have Pernell there to patrol. What's the word I'm looking for, y'all? Troll. Yes. I feel like they have Pernell there to troll everybody, because why is her presence needed? Why? Like, why? Like, why? I don't know. Y'all know I cannot stand Penelope. Okay? Tyler Perry. Tyler he just never ceased to amaze me. Just like next week. Okay? And of course, this is where the episode ended. Okay? But I just want y'all to know they finna beat the brakes off Penelope. And I'm happy about that. Because it's been long overdue. I'm trying to keep it PG. I try to keep it PG on my sister's videos. But Penelope need her ass whooped. I don't keep it PG. But she do. Okay? And I cannot wait. Wednesday. Next Wednesday cannot come fast enough. Okay? So, yeah. We gonna see what else supposed to be happening. I don't know. Listen. I don't even know. All I know is they gonna sit around and whoop her. Okay, shout out to The Color Purple. Okay, that was well overdue. Especially that time she slapped Andy. So Penelope thinks she finna play with this lady. Oh, this a totally different Andy. Okay. Anyway, yeah, I'm ready. I will see y'all tomorrow, because I have to drop more videos. Also, if you have not seen my House of Pain short, it is up. Go over there, go look at that short. Let me know what y'all think. Bye.